And welcome back to another episode of Life Changing Challengers. I am super excited to have Zulma Williams on the show today. She is the swearing therapist. So, all of you out there with kids, you might not want to have them listen to this, but she's going to give some great advice on anxiety and resolution therapy and, just helping people that, experience trauma, anxiety, depression. And she's got a great story to even start out with that. Hey, Zulma, how are you today?
I'm great, Brad. Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here.
Well, I appreciate it. And we're damn happy to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood? Like where you grew up, what was the complement of your family, brothers, sisters, and what was it like to be Zulma as a kid?
Oh, sure. So I was born and raised in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I am the baby of the family. I have an older brother who is 10 years older than me. Then there was another baby who unfortunately never met because he passed away at 9 months old. And then was my sister who is 7 years older than me. And then, surprise, my mom said that she was done with children. And then all of a sudden, hello, here I come, Zulma. Down the line, fun story about my name. So my name is not only unusual here in the United States, it's unusual in Argentina too. Funny, my sister's name is Linda. So the wrong one moved to the States, but my dad used to sell fabrics, and there was this famous actress. It was a client of my dad. So he said, if it's a girl, it's going to be Zulma or Zulema. And if I was a boy, it was going to be Jorge, George, right? Like, so clearly a girl came out. So my mom chose Zulma. Both names, Zulma and Zulema, are very unusual in Argentina. But my dad was born and raised in Syria. So it's a very Arabic name. And when I was about 8, my parents, divorce wasn't legal in Argentina at that time. So my parents separated. My dad moved out. And it was just basically my mom and I, because my brother was a teenager. Both my siblings were teenagers, so they were doing their own thing. When I was about 15, I started having this heaviness, this depression, and suicidal ideation. And I didn't understand why. Looking back, I think it's because I became the only source of emotional support for my mom. She never met anyone else. She never move on with her life. So at the time, I didn't know, like, oh, why am I feeling depressed, right? And then, I graduated high school. I had friends. I was going out a lot because I think that my mom felt guilty for my dad not being there. So she allowed a lot of freedom and to kind of like compensate. But all that I realized later in life. Like at the time, I was enjoying life. I got my first job at 19. And then the socioeconomic situation in Argentina is still difficult. Like it was difficult 30 years ago, and it continues to be. And I found myself at 31 with no job, living with my mom, going back to my mom's house because I didn't have a job. I had graduated. I went to the university there. I graduated with an optometrist degree. But I ended up working as a proofreader because there was no jobs as an optometrist. I'm very good at detecting mistakes. It's like a red flag when there is a mistake in a word, which is a blessing and a curse, right? Because it's like, I cannot read a newspaper in peace because it's like, oh my God, they misspelled that word. So I ended up working as a proofreader, and then I lost that job, and that sent me, like, I didn't have any income. So I went back to living with my mom at 31, and I didn't have a job. I didn't have a boyfriend. I didn't have kids. It was like coming, and I always dream of moving to the United States. And I was like, you know what? If it's not now, when? I took it as an adventure. My mom said, if it doesn't work out, you always have a place here. And something very tragic happened. So I had a cousin who, let's say, was 31, so he was probably 32. We were about the same age, and he had a stroke and he died, like, unexpectedly. Like, he was in class, he was a psychologist, and he was doing some training, and all of a sudden he's not here. Because it's 31, you're like, oh, well, I'll do it later. And that was like, bitch, you better start packing right now. So I went to my therapist and I said, I see my cousin passed away, let's say about July, August. And by December, I was already coming to the States. Like, that was such a wake up call, because I was like, no, it's not like I have the rest of my life. Like, anything can be snatched away at the blink of an eye. And so I took it as an adventure. I came here to California. Right now I'm in Henderson, Nevada. But at that time, I went to Los Angeles and it was December. So everything was like the fucking movies, like all the houses decorated, the Christmas tree, the Christmas lights. And oh my God, I'm stepping into a fucking movie. And reality quickly set in. But at the beginning, I was in a movie. And I start, it was a huge cultural shock. And, different language, different food, different everything, basically. But I was so mesmerized by the stability that, like, so you have dollars, right? Like, that's the currency, like, and you had it forever. Like, in Argentina, the currency changed so much that it was, like, it's like, okay, like, what? I went back after 10 years, and my brother had to explain the currency at the time, because it was like different bills, even the same denomination, like, let's say a 200, and on top of that, it's like unrealistic. So I seen in March of 2025, I seen a $20, 20 Argentinian pesos, all Argentinian pesos, right? 20, 50, 100, 200, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and 10,000 and 20,000, right? So my nephew was like, who is an adult, he was like, don't get the 2,000 confused with the 20,000. And I was like, holy shit. You are explaining this to me, because my highest bill is 100.
Yeah.
So it was just mind blowing, the stability, right? Like, that you can plan for the future, that you can save, that you can, like, having a job, I could rent a place. That was unheard of in Argentina, because it's so disproportionate that it's like, that's why I end up living with my mom. But even if I had a job, I couldn't afford to live on my own. So that gives me an appreciation that a lot of people who have born here don't have, simply because you were not exposed to the shit that I've been exposed to. So to me, having a car, well, first of all, I didn't drive over there because traffic is horrible. But when I got to learn, I learned to drive, relearn to drive over here. And then I got a car, and it was an old car, but it took me everywhere I wanted to go. So I do appreciate that I don't need the 2026 model. I am so happy with my Toyota that is so reliable and it takes me everywhere I want to go. But I used to work with teenagers, for like, it was their summer job. And I remember one girl, she was so upset because her dad had bought her mom a new car, but not her. And I'm like, bitch, I didn't have my first car until I was 32. Like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, she doesn't know better. Like, I think that a lot of people born here need to be traveling more, because
Yes.
when you travel, you are exposed. Like I always say, a poor person here is different than a poor person in Argentina.
Yes.
And it's hard to understand if you didn't live there and here, because it is different, right?
I had just out of curiosity, I've got to ask. So, were you in Argentina when there was a change in the currency, or was it just that you left and you came back and it was changed?
Oh no, they continue to happen.
You're there. So, what do they do? Do you like get an announcement saying the currency changes and go to go to the bank and then flip out your money and then come back?
So is the devaluation. So it's like 5,000 and now is 5, right? So they take all the zeros away. So inflation goes. So in 1983, there was a dictatorship from 1976 until 1983. And in 1983 was the first time that I remember being able, I didn't qualify because of when I was born, but it was the first time that democracy was reinstated, basically. So people were able to vote, and we had the first president in democracy, right, in 1983. And then inflation was out the charts. So, like, you will go to the store now and pay, I don't know, 100 for sugar, and then 3 hours later you went back and it was 250. Like, the prices were changing like on the hour. Those are the things that in 2001 the government, so it was still a democracy, but in 2001 I was already here. The economy was so bad that the government confiscated people's money. So you had money in the bank and they were like, well, now it's our money because we don't have money. So we are going to give it back to you in 20 years, right? Like, it's not like we're stealing the money, but you're going to get it back in 20 years, right? Like, so, and it was the first time. So my dad was not happy that I was coming here. And in 2001, it was the first time he said, you did the right thing, because his money got confiscated. So, and when I was trying to explain it to my coworkers here, they were like, but what is the government doing? The government is the one who confiscated your money. Like, so who the fuck are you going to go claim?
Right.
Like, you know, it's like, but it's your money. Yeah, but you're going to get it back in 10 years. And so they gave like kind of like, I don't remember what the legal name is, but it's not like you don't have the money anymore, but you have something in writing that in 20 years or in 10 years, you can cash it. Well, in fucking 10 years, it's not even going to be the same currency. So, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's kind of like a forced bond issue, but were you getting it? But were they saying that you were getting interest on that, or it was 1 for 1 and that's it?
Well, you do get interest, if I remember correctly, and I wasn't there, but you do get interest, but the inflation is 280% yearly. So
Yeah.
I'll give you 2% interest, and the inflation is 280. But it affected, so my dad, I think he was retired at that time. So it affected his savings, right, for retirement. Like, he needs this money to live right now. So it's like, well, he ended up living another 19 years, but you're retired. Like, this is what you save for, and you cannot access it. And although it was a huge financial crisis, what was considered even over there a huge financial crisis, when I try to explain it to people here, they're like, you couldn't comprehend, because it's like, how the fuck is the government going to conflict? How is that legal, right? But who the fuck are you gonna go and protest? What is the fucking government who did it? So for me to be here and be able to save and to plan and to plan a vacation for my birthday is in June. So I usually like to be by the ocean for my birthday. So I started planning my birthday in January and I already paid for it. It was blowing my mind, because it's like, over there, I went to visit my family in March of this year. this year I'm turning 60. So I was going to celebrate my birthday early. It was my brother's 70th birthday. And I said, okay, I'll celebrate my 60th birthday with family. I contacted kind of like you pay a set fee at the restaurant and it's like a preset menu.
Mhm.
I contacted them in December. And actually, that's why I needed to reschedule our interview. So I do appreciate your flexibility because I wasn't even here. I was over there. So I contacted them in December and I said, okay, March 29th, I want to make a reservation. And they said, well, it depends on availability. And I'm like, motherfucker, I'm contacting you 3 months earlier, right? So then they said, you need to contact us back in March. So I contacted them back in March because it's 18 people. So I want to be prepared, right? March 1st, they took a deposit of 50,000 Argentinian pesos, which is about $50.
Okay.
And they said, we cannot guarantee how much we're going to charge you. Tell me why. So I'm telling my nephew, like, what the fuck is wrong? You're taking my money. And he said the day prior. And you bet the day prior. So on March 28th, I knew how much I was going to pay on March 29th. And get this, they don't take credit cards. So I was walking around with $500,000. I was around with $500,000 Argentinian pesos to pay for a fucking lunch.
Wow. That is like beyond imagination. Like I would never think that. Now things change here fast. Obviously you can pay, like I think the other day I paid $277 at the pump and the next day it was $295. The third day was $310. Then it was back down. Okay. That's daily and that's gas. And that's something that, you can kind of work around. But the idea that you've got this 18-person party that you're trying to plan for and giving them the heads up and a deposit, and you still got to wait to find out what you're going to pay for. That's like beyond mind blowing to me.
And I was telling my nephew that he turned 45 yesterday. I mean, he's like a son to me. And I was telling him that. And he was like, you are too American for us. Because I come with this idea of like, this is fucking nuts.
Right.
If you service someone for a wedding or a quinceañera or a party, and I'm giving you the money, you're going to respect the price.
But on the other hand, with that floating inflation that they have, it's not like 5 months in advance or 3 months in advance. They can say, oh, okay, we'll put it apart. And they're going to get vegetables and milk and all this stuff and then put it away for you. That's not going to work either. And so they can buy it at that price. They have to buy it the day before because obviously you want it fresh. All the foods should be fresh. So they have to buy it the day before. That makes sense.
And that's what my nephew explained to me. He said they cannot guarantee because if they tell you at the price when you pay $50,000 pesos deposit, you might be eating for free because they don't know how much they're going to pay.
Right.
At the end of the month. So it's like that is the kind of craziness that I move away from because although I didn't know, right? Like I never coming to America was the first time I was in an airplane. It was like, it's like, it was like all around an adventure. But when I came here, it was December of 1996. And I was like in paradise in a sense of like, oh, you are able to have a job and pay. At the beginning, I was a roommate in someone's house and I rented my first apartment. Then I got my car and I was a lot better in 6 months than a lot of my family was back in Argentina. In 6 months of working in a fucking laundromat. It's not like I had this corporate job and I made it. It's like, oh, I'm fucking washing your clothes. The laundromat that you drop your clothes and then you come back and the man fold it.
Oh, yeah, the wash and fold. Yeah.
I didn't become a hardworking person when I came to America. I was already hardworking. But over there, you are hardworking to survive. because my work ethic remained the same. So my nephew came here in 2021 for his, again, 30 years later, he is in the same predicament that I was. So, and I was explaining this to him. It's like, you work hard over there to survive. Here you work hard and you see that, oh my God, like I can, now I'm renting a house, or I could change my car or whatever. But it's a complete different reality. And when I'm trying to explain this to people who have never been outside of the States, it's like, it blows your mind, because my mind was blown 2 months ago in March, and my nephew was like, yeah, you couldn't survive here. Because it's like, how is it that 30 years later, you're in the same predicament?
Yeah, it is. That's mind blowing. I kind of get it. When I was in the military, I was actually over here at MacDill Air Force Base, and we had partners with other countries and all Army from all over the world. They were in here, and I can't remember what we called the area, but basically it was coordinated. It was coordinated efforts for the Iran and Iraq war, for the Iraq war, Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom. But I had talked to a couple of the guys that had come from very small, like Senegal and really small areas in Africa and stuff, and would take them to what we called the PX, which is just like our commissary, which is the military grocery store.
Okay.
And you run up and down the lines and they're just like, wait, you can just pick it up and put it in your cart? I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Oh, you don't have to like ask, or you could take it. Can I take as many as I want? I'm like, yeah, you fill up if you want to fill up the cart with limes, you can fill them all up and you can just buy them all. He's like, really? They were like astounded that you could just pick it up, put it in the cart, and they trusted you that you're going to go to the checkout line and ring it up. So I could imagine that was the kind of the same thing for you. I am curious, you chose LA, which is, even back then in 1996, was the most expensive place to live, still is. How did you manage that when you were broke?
Okay. No, the reason why I went to LA is because I had an uncle who was living there. So that guy had family, and that was my first, and that's part of what reality set in, because like, I was 31. He was trying to control me, like who I'm calling, there is no email. We are writing letters. Who are you writing letters to? Like, you need to cut ties, which it was a good mindset, that kind of like, if you're here, then cut ties over there. But the way that he was trying to impose that on me, and I was like, I'm an adult. You're not going to control like who the fuck I'm sending a letter or buying a calling card. So now we have WhatsApp, right? Like, but at that time it was buying a calling, so that, like for $5, I can talk for 20 minutes. So it was 5 minutes with my mom and 5 minutes with my dad and 5 minutes with a friend and right? Like, so you needed to, and I was buying, so he had a bakery, and I was buying the calling cards from him. Not that I was paying for them.
Right.
But because I was buying so many, he was like, who are you talking to? And I was like, oh, hell to the no. So that's how I ended up in LA, because he was living there. Then I met a cousin on my dad's side. It is her brother. And then I met a cousin from my dad's side, which were all in Syria. And this cousin called my dad and said, Uncle, I'm in America. And my dad said, oh, my daughter is in America too. Is the only one on my dad's side that I have met. And he didn't speak English, and he didn't speak Spanish, and I didn't speak Arabic.
Right.
And neither one of us spoke English like I'm speaking English right now. Oh, it was a lot of fucking pointing, but that's when I moved to, which is right next to LAX airport. And I was renting a room from people there. And I will go to the beach every day after work to watch the sunset. And then I fucking moved to Vegas and I was like, where is the water? You know, like, because we have the sun, but we don't have the water.
Right.
That's how I ended up in LA because
You had family there.
my uncle was there.
It wasn't the greatest situation, but it got you here and it got you on your way. It was a stepping stone. And you used it as such, which was wonderful. So you're doing all this. And if I'm not mistaken, some of the research that I did come up with, you actually didn't start, like, you didn't go back to school until late, right? When you're like 40.
Right. So I'm working over there in the dry cleaners in Manhattan Beach, and they were trying to expand in Vegas. So that's how I end up in Vegas, because they sent another person and they were trying to establish the brand here in Vegas. And they sent us in fucking April to see if we like it. And we did, right? Like April was like, oh, like, you know, all the casinos and blah, blah, blah. And then we move and then fucking May is 110 degrees. Like, you assholes, you know, like, so I got here and then a year later, I got fired from that job because I referred to a manager as a fucking bitch, and somebody heard me and told her the next day. But she was a fucking bitch. I end up working in an office, getting an office job, which was another stepping stone because summer in Vegas is brutal. Inside the dry cleaners, there is no AC that will sustain because of the steamer. The steamer gets shut down and it takes about 6 hours to come down. It was hotter inside of the store. Like the clients will wait outside to come when they come pick up their clothes. So working in an office with AC, I was in heaven.
Yeah.
So I started working in accounting and I end up working for the accounting department in a big corporation. And I was 42 at the time. And I love numbers. Numbers are so black and white. It doesn't matter. It's 4. But I always had this passion for helping people. And I don't think I see myself doing this for another 25 years. So I enrolled in a school. I started my bachelor's of social work in 2007. I was investing in building a different life, but I continued the life that I had. So I didn't quit my job.
Great.
Continued. Right, exactly. So I continue my accounting job. And then I graduated 4 years later. And I was on track to do my master's. My classmates from high school in Argentina, they were like, what the fuck are you doing? You are crazy. Studying school at 42. Like, what are you going to do? Because over there, and that is kind of like the different culture. Over there, you are old to get a job when you are 30. So they were like, what the fuck are you doing at 42? Starting a career, a different career. Like, you're not going to get a job. And I'm like, okay, I don't tell you how to live your life. Like, trust me, like, I know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I wanted to be a therapist. I already knew that. Bring all the life experience, being old is actually an asset because all the life experience that I bring into my office and that I brought into the classroom too, you can, like, I experience domestic violence. The ones the shit that my classmates were reading in the textbook, I can fucking tell you all about the cycle of abuse because I experienced it, right? Like, so it's like, okay, you fucking do you, let me do me, right? Like, so I graduated at 46. I was on track to do my master's. And my idea was to be independently licensed at age 50. And 6 weeks after I graduated with my bachelor's, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. Surprise, right? Sitting in storage. And spoiler alert, I survived. Here I am, right? Like, so 13 years, cancer-free. Yay for me. But so clearly, that put a stop to my higher education. I had to take care of my health. I had a decision to make, and I moved back to Argentina. I was diagnosed in February, and I moved back in June and continued my treatment there. to be closer to my family. But now in retrospect, there was another reason why I was there. But at that time, it was to be close to my family. A year and a half later, my mom unexpectedly passed away of her heart attack.
Oh my, it just keeps getting worse and worse.
So, but the thing is that I have peace in my heart because my mom got to see that I was doing well. So in my heart of hearts, I provided peace for her transition. Because it's one thing, so I don't have children, but I presume that if you have children, it's one thing that I hang up the phone. I tell you on the phone, I'm okay. And another thing is that you get to see me that I am okay, right?
Right.
So my mom, so I got there in 2012. My mom passed in August of 2013. And I was like, a year later, I was like, this shit ain't working out for me. Like I'm gonna go back to the States. And I asked God for a sign. I need a sign that this is the right decision. So I made my decision of coming back to the States in May of 2015, a month short of my 50th birthday. I wanted to celebrate my 50th birthday here. And out of the blue, I get an email to my personal email. You know, when you are in school, I went to University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So I have my UNLV email. But after a couple of years, you're not a student, that email. I get an email on my personal email from UNLV asking like, hey, do you want to do your master's of social work? We have the advanced program back. I was like, okay, God, like I asked for a sign, you gave me a fucking banner, right?
Yeah.
And I registered. I came back in May of 2015. I hit the ground running. I was in school full time. So the advanced program is you get your master's in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very intense. It's like 4 classes in summer, but not like a regular summer class where in 3 weeks you're done. 3 of those classes were the entire semester.
Right.
And then 5 classes in fall and 5 classes in the spring. I didn't have a fucking social life that year, but I was so focused. I knew what I wanted to do. I'm 50 years old. Like my classmate was like, well, we don't know. I'm like, bitch, I'm twice your age. Like I know I want to be in therapy. Like I wanted to go the clinical route. I didn't have any doubts in that sense. Like that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a therapist. I wanted to help people. And being bilingual in Spanish was a great asset. But also, it's not that I speak the language. I also know the culture because I live half of my life in that culture. So it's not like, oh, I speak Spanish. I know that as a woman, you don't have a voice, right? Like it's the cultural component of coming from a Hispanic country, right? Because it's like, yeah, we are different than Mexicans and Colombians and Brazil and whatever, but the culture is the fucking same. The bottom line is the same. So I graduated a year later and I started my internship and I became independently licensed when I was 53 and a half. So remember, like my goal was to be independently licensed at 50. I'm already fucking old. Who cares that it took me, that it was 53 and a half.
But,
right?
but the experience that you went through surviving cancer just adds to your bullets that you can give to your clients,
Right.
the ability to experience that and go on. So maybe you might be a couple of years past your goal, but the experience you got in those 2 years probably made you worth like 10 times more.
Right. And the thing is that I'm very transparent. Like we are drilled in school, like you don't talk about your personal life, love. I'm very transparent about my experience because I know trauma. It's not like I'm telling you like, oh yeah, I can connect. Like, no, I fucking connect. because I have my own traumatic experiences.
Right.
So I do put on my website that I'm a cancer survivor because, and that I came from another country, because it's like, oh, so you speak Spanish? No, I know the fucking culture. I know why, like you driving is a huge stepping stone in your independence. Because like I had my therapist, she's white, bless her heart. And one time I was talking about something, and she was so confused, as of like, she was like, kind of like, why did you ask your partner, kind of thing. And I'm like, because that's what you do, right? Like, so I had this mixture of being American and being Argentinian. Like it's all in there, and it made me who I am. But I have this, like with my practice, we either connect or we don't. There is no, I'm not sure about, so there's no gray area with me. You either like me or you fucking hate me. Either way, I sleep at night, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I understand that. But I don't take it personally if we don't click. I'll give you fucking referrals.
Correct.
It took me, and that's why the internship. So after after I got my master's, I went into my internship, which is 3,000 hours to become independent licensed. You do 3,000 hours, 2,000 are of direct contact with clients, and 1,000 of other in trainings, paperwork, blah, blah, blah. And then you take the clinical exam, and then you become that's why I'm a licensed clinical social worker. Then I can work independently. That's for social workers, at least here in Nevada. Like marriage and family therapists, they can work independently when they are interns. But for social workers, you had to be fully licensed to work individually. Well, because I was exposed to different things, I chose to specialize in trauma, anxiety, and depression. So if you come to me with substance abuse, I cannot provide you with the best service. So I will refer you out. If you want, like I have a very distinct schedule. I see clients on Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays from 12 to 6. Well, Monday at 8 works for me. Well, I give you a referral because I don't fucking see clients on Mondays at 8. I'm not a morning person. So, like, I have colleagues who went into private practice and then they work 60 hours. Like, why the fuck are you in private practice? Like, I move into private practice to own my schedule. Mm-hmm. So when you are the one calling me. If you want that surgeon that only sees patients on Wednesdays from 3 to 5, you're going to fucking make it work so that you are going to accommodate your schedule.
Right.
Well, you want to work with me? I see clients Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 12 to 6, and I don't apologize for my schedule because that is what provides me with balance. I'm giving myself a 4-day weekend every fucking week.
I agree with that, though, because I think you, especially as a therapist, that somebody's got to be so in tune with your client. You can't, it's not a profession that you can have something else going on in your head. You need to be completely engrossed in this person in order for them to give them the service they deserve. So if you're working the times of the day that you could be on your game, that's just stepping up your service to your client.
That's part of my work ethic.
Right.
I'm doing you a service. So when I was doing my internship, I started at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 to 6, 4 days a week. So I worked 40 hours in 4 days. I have 11 appointments. I didn't even fucking remember who you were. Like, I had to make Post-it notes to add to the chart because I won't see you for another 3 weeks because my schedule was full. This is on a community agency, right? And I'm like, with my clientele now, it's like, I know who you are. I know what we talk. I don't need that fucking Post-it. No, I still write very specific notes, but that's part of the profession. But I know who you are. with that job, seeing 11 people a day, it's like so when I moved into private practice, which I did because, so when you're an intern, you had to eat the shit up, right? Like that's part of the process. Like I will tell them, right, in and it's okay. We all go through it. But when I became independently licensed, I will tell them that the agency, don't give me couples. Like I don't like working with couples, because my experience with couples was like, you fucking need individual therapy and you fucking need individual therapy. Then come back. Like you're fucking wasting my time. Like, so I don't like working with couples. Here comes a couple. They gave it to me because they speak Spanish and I'm the only bilingualist therapist. How is that my fucking problem? Bring another therapist who is bilingual Spanish and wants to work with couples. So don't give me substance abuse. Here comes a person. If you have heart issues, you need to go to a cardiologist. The GI doctor, although he's a doctor, is not the specialist for you. Right. So I was like, if I want to work with trauma, anxiety, and depression, I will have to do my own shit. Because these motherfuckers saw a hole in my schedule and they just put whomever. And it's not ethical for me to be treating you for your substance abuse when I don't fucking specialize in that, nor I will connect with that.
Right.
I know all about addiction, but I know all about trauma and I connect differently, because when you have a traumatic event, I'll see it as an opportunity to help you.
Right.
I don't sit there and cry with you. When you are an alcoholic and you want to quit drinking, but you are not there yet, I'm not the therapist for you. So ethically, why I'll take you? I had to refer you to a therapist who specializes in substance abuse. If you have a personality disorder, why will I waste your time and money?
Right.
I refer you to a therapist. So, and I explain this to the clients because I'm so direct that they love that. Like some of them love that approach. Not all of them, but some of them, I don't have time. You want to get better? We are going to hit the ground running. If you are like, oh, well, I'm not sure if then I'm not the therapist for you. Fucking go to the one who will hold your hand until you are ready. I'm not that person.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I'm an endurance coach. I help people through marathons and Ironmans and stuff like that. And people that want to change their life and use endurance sports as the vehicle. If you want to learn how to play tennis, why are you coming to me?
Right.
Yeah, but I think probably one of the biggest messages we're getting from you right now, and it's so simple, is that it's never too late. I think it's probably the biggest message that I've gotten from you so far. I mean, not going back to school till you were 42, not getting licensed until you were 52, and then starting your practice after that. I think that's absolutely incredible that, no matter what your dream is, circumstances may postpone your dream, but you can get it later. I mean, obviously we always want to get it as soon as possible, but there's always going to be circumstances in front of you that sometimes might not allow you to obtain those dreams immediately. But as long as you keep dreaming and you keep striving to get there, you're going to get there. I was going to mention it to you when you first said that you went to 42, but I read an article about, I think her name was Lisbeth Bible. She went to med school at 50.
Right.
Yeah. Med school. So that's 8 years minimally before she'll touch up on her own, before she becomes a resident and she can go from there. And I'm like, and then she became a obstetrician, and she finally, I think she said that she finally retired at like 84.
Right.
And just recently there was an article about a pastor. His name was Antonio Patterson, and he left the church and went to med school at 50. And like, he's in med school right now.
Right. So if anything, cancer came to show me how bad I wanted to be a therapist. Yes. Because nobody would have blamed me if I'm like, oh, I'm going back to accounting or I'm not going to do my master's or whatever. But it was like, hell no. If I'm better, I'm going to go for my master's. When I have clients telling me like, oh, I'm too old to go. I started my master's at 50 and English is not my first language.
Right.
It's your fucking excuse. Like,
That
you are barking at the wrong tree.
right there. That is it, right? Go into not only getting your master's degree at 50, but English isn't even your first language. That's ridiculous. And you were coming back from Argentina anyway. So you had spent the last few years speaking Spanish.
So, and it was a cultural shock going back there in 2012. When I came back in 2015, it was kind of like not as bad, as strong as a cultural shock coming back to the States, because I was like, no, that's where I fucking belong. Because like, that's where I can start a career at 50 and have a job doing that. The thing is that, like I always say this, motivation is fucking overrated. You have been doing shit that you were not motivated to do your entire life. If you have kids, you didn't tell the baby, like, yeah, I'm not motivated to fucking breastfeed you, and your boobs are fucking hurting and bleeding, and you cannot walk, you cannot pee. You fucking do it.
Right.
You to work, and the last thing you want to do is fucking see your fucking co-workers, and you do it. So it's not a motivation. I always said you need to become Nike and just do it.
I talk about this a lot.
Passion.
Yeah.
That is your passion, because if you are passionate about it, then motivation is not the issue. Consistency is.
100%. That goes with just about everything. But I agree. It's desire. It's passion and desire that will keep you going. Motivation is temporary. For my kids that I coach, it's like you need to get up and you need to get outside, or after school, you need to head to the track. And yeah, there's a lot of times you're just not going to be willing to do it. But it's the people that do. It's the people that sit there and even know like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I got all this stuff to do. I should go home. I should do my homework, blah, blah, blah. But wait a second. The coach wants me on the track for at least an hour today. Yeah, I can still pull that off. And sometimes you sacrifice stuff. Maybe you sacrifice sleep. You sacrifice social life. But it's all dependent on what you want to do and how far you want to go to get it.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, Kobe Bryant, in many interviews, he said, I get up at whatever, fucking 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and he will go train. And then if you got up at 6 o'clock, he already had 2 hours of training over you.
Yep.
And then he went back at 10. He came back, had breakfast, and then he went back and trained at 10. So, and then he trained at 2. Where is your passion at? Because I'm passionate about what I do. I'm passionate about helping people. And I think that that's why I don't work. I don't consider, like, I love going into my office, because it's like, oh my God, like you tell me about a traumatic event and I'll see it as this window of opportunity to fucking help you. It is an honor that you trust me with that.
Love that.
So it's like, who the fuck is working? The only work I do is a fucking noise. Like, I hate doing that, but being with a client is such an honor. So like, these people sit in front of me, a fucking stranger, and they open up and show me their wounds. And then we get to work together on healing those wounds. And then you are on your own to build the life of your dreams. And I'm fucking first row witness to that. How many people can say that?
I am with you. I am 100% with you. I used to sit there and when I first started coaching, I was like, oh my God, watching my clients cross the finish line at their races is only second to me crossing myself. Now, other way around. I would rather, and I get so more excited about watching my clients cross. And, I become a coach like me. I'm like in the same level as a therapist, but I do get that. I do get people that talk to me about, well, coach, I did this and I did this. I don't know what's going on with my life here and blah, blah, blah. So they kind of talk to me about it. Matter of fact, I will give you one thing that, like, one of my biggest forms of ego boost that I ever got. I was training, get this, I was training an MD doctor and a new doctor that had only been in it a few years. And she was doing workout and she got hurt. She pulled something and she didn't know what it was. And she called me. I'm like, you're a freaking doctor.
You are the doctor,
No,
right?
And you're calling your coach to talk to you about what do you think it is that I just did to myself? I was like, I've made it. I'm done. I'm done. Let me just get
Right.
okay. I'm good. Like MD comes to her endurance coach. Like that was by far the biggest ego boost. But then she told me, she goes, listen, just like what you said, right? It's the specialty, right? I specialize in that. I see injuries all the time. I know the muscles that it takes for certain endurance events when I work with them all the time. She was a family doctor, so she sees sniffles and coughs. So of course, you're going to call me because that's the first thing she said. She goes, I was like, I have to tell you something. I am shocked as all heck. And she goes, why? Because I'm an MD. I don't work with this stuff all the time. You do. Of course I'm going to call you. And I didn't. And she could have said that 4 times. I'm still going to feel like I was like this. But it was just, and I thought about it. I'm like, she's absolutely right. I work with this stuff all the time. So it's, it's a little bit different. And we came up with a therapy for her, like within the next 10 minutes. She did it for a couple of days. She came back and said, no, I feel great. I'm good to go. And I was like, okay, perfect. And you're absolutely right since then. So, because I'm looking at you're the licensed certified social worker, but you're also now an ACSW. What's that?
So that is an extra certification. I am a certified social worker. It's a denomination that LCSWs can get after they become LCSWs. It's letters of recommendations, and it's through the National Association of Social Workers. So I'm a certified social worker. And then I went into another certification for the accelerated resolution therapy. That is the art. So I learned about that technique in one of my papers for school. And actually, so I had to do a case study of one of the clients, and I suggested that as a technique. And my professor put, why not EMDR? Because this technique it was developed by a person who was certified in EMDR, the eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And my professor put on the paper, why not EMDR? I'm like, because this is more effective. So I was so intrigued by the technique that I got trained even before I became, right after school. So even before I became an intern. So then I started applying it, and I saw magic happening right in front of my eyes. And I was like, this shit works. So really quick, to give context, when a traumatic event happens, the brain creates a movie. Mm-hmm. And it plays that movie at any time that it gets triggered, because that's the only movie that it has, right? It's Channel 3 with a horror movie. And through eye movements, I guide you into playing that movie twice, and then you get to change the movie and give a different ending. So now we use the eye movements to kind of like put that movie there. So we're giving your brain channel 5 with a different movie. But hold on, the movie I created is not real. Correct. But the movie of the trauma is not real as it's not happening right now. It happened when it happened, but it's not happening right now. The brain doesn't distinguish that it's not happening right now. It's feeling as if it's happening right now. So out of this movie that is not real, and it's a horror movie, and out of this movie that is not real but has a better ending, which one do you want? So that's how I explain it to my clients, right? Like, so let's say sexual abuse in childhood. You go as the adult that you are right now, and you rescue the earlier version of you. So how empowering is that? Because when you were 5, how are you going to stand up to this authority figure? But now as an adult, it's kind of like you're protecting your inner child, right? Like, so you go back in your movie and you you rescue the earlier version of yourself. I work with a lot of people in car accidents who were not at fault. So now they are anxious to drive, right? Because like I was just at a red light and somebody hit me. There is nothing that you could have done differently. You were just at the wrong fucking place at the wrong fucking time. So we create a new movie where the person was not even there, or the other car slammed on the brakes and the collision didn't happen, or however you want to change it.
Yeah.
And these people are driving the next day because the movie so this is not about erasing the memory. What they take, so you remember everything, but what the technique does, it removes the emotional, the negative emotions attached to the memory. So if I ask you, like, do you remember the bike that you had when you were 10? Yeah, you remember it, but you're not fucking crying about it. So this is the same thing. You wouldn't remember everything, but there is no emotional reaction to it. Usually it takes between 1 and 3 sessions. Most of my clients, with 1 session, they are good to go.
Oh my God. I'm going to have to tell you the story offline, unfortunately. But yeah, I've got a story for you about that something just like that I went through. But basically, I went through something when I was in the military, and it was a form of this, except that it was much more intense. And it wasn't about changing the movie. It was about detaching from it. So I think we got
Right.
I ended up getting, and the people that went through it, because it was experimental at the time, they got the part where you were saying that you were able to like remove the emotion from it, but it wasn't necessarily through actually making a change. It was by repeating it. So basically is we ended up, some of these guys that went through this experimental thing, including myself, told the story, like must have told the story orally 1,000 times, must have written it. I must have written it 150 times, like wrote it, everything down from beginning to end. And at that point, now it's like a comic book. It's like sitting in my brain as a comic. I'm completely detached from it. You know what I mean? And I could tell the story like it happened to me yesterday, but I don't get overwhelmed with emotion because I've said it so many times.
So many times, right?
It's like watching your favorite episode of a show like 150, 200 times to where you can quote it. It's not as funny anymore. I mean, it's still entertaining, but it's not funny. So you totally pulled it away from you because you could sit there and quote it.
You got desensitized.
But that was over like months. I like your version better. I change it in one over it. I'm good. But man, it was intense because it was just like, it wasn't like the old Dunkin' Donuts commercials. I don't know if you had them in Argentina. Time to make the donuts. The guy would get up and he'd go, what? Time to make the donuts. Time to make the donuts. For me, it was like, time to tell the story. Time to tell the story. Time to write the story.
So
it was just.
You got re-traumatized several times until you didn't. You got desensitized, re-traumatized, if you would, by watching the movie 2 times. The reason for that is to bring those feelings up to the surface so we can change them.
And let them go versus.
And then well, really, by changing the movie, then you don't have those feelings.
Oh, true. And that was the difference. Right. So it was the experiment, and actually they don't do it anymore because there was no medication involved. Like we were given Xanax was as much as we were able to have. They wouldn't allow us like sleeping pills or anything like that. The like regular diet, and you can have and it was like 0.5 milligrams was all you were allowed. Right. You got it distributed to you. So and because they didn't want you to. They wanted you to live it. They wanted you to let go of it. And the idea was that for all these soldiers that go through PTSD, they're like, is there a way to get past it? And the idea of PTSD at the time was that PTSD, a lot of the problem was them holding it in, was that they wouldn't face it. They would hold it in. And it just got to a point where now things are triggering. But and there was only the few people that went through it. It was something in our psyche valves. Like I found out later, and it took me a while because when I finally got my medical records back, it was the fact that I showed high ability to compartmentalize.
Right.
So those were the people that they put through the thing. They're like, if you can compartmentalize, you can probably be successful at this program. And I would say that I would say that that's, that's a part of it. But I think they did a disservice to some of the people that couldn't. They would have been, because it was an order. I mean, basically what it was is because we were still in the military, it was like, you're going to tell me the story. You are ordered to tell me the story. It's in Article 15, which is illegal. You're under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. You have to follow a lawful order from your superior. So the superior is the doctor and the chaplain. We had talked to so many people. We were in group, we were out of group. And the lawful order was, you will tell me the story of the incident again. You will provide another after action report. So that's how they used it. That would have been probably more useful to those other guys because they would have been able to bring it up and out. Yes, they don't have the ability to compartmentalize like I can. But yeah, it's interesting.
Sensitization works for a lot of traumas. Like when we had the shooting here on October 1st of 2017, I had a client who wasn't present at the shooting, but she was a high executive at Mandalay Bay. So she had employees on the phone and she was able to hear the shots through the phone. When I was treating her, in addition to the ART, I told her to watch videos of fireworks leading up to New Year's Eve because the fireworks were so triggering. So I told her, like, every day you need to listen to fireworks because it's like you need to understand, you need to train your brain that, oh, these are fireworks, because she was going to work on December 31st.
Yeah.
And we have the show on the street.
Right.
On fireworks, right? And it did work for her. But it's a lot of shit, but she was feeling so guilty because it was her team that was there, not her. And it's like, so we work a lot of that. But in the immediate saying is like, you had to work on fucking December 31st and there is going to be fireworks. So, and that's what a lot of military people experience when they come back. It's like 4th of July, which is this joyful celebration, and you're fucking hiding under your desk because you think you're under attack. Yeah. So this ART is being a lot of military is using a lot in the military because it is so effective. So when you come back from a tour, I think that the fucking order should be that all of you, when you come back from a tour, should do therapy. Because then if you are ordered to do, then it's not because you are weak, it's because an order. And if we are all fucking doing it.
Right.
I watched American Sniper a couple of days ago for the 50th time. Oh my God, I can see how he was holding in and he was going back to serve justice for his fellow SEALs. And he cannot explain that to the wife. And the wife is like, what the fuck? I want my husband back. But he was so obsessed with creating justice and he couldn't communicate that. And the doctor in the movie, the beauty of ART is that if you don't want to even fucking tell me what the movie is, I don't even need to know. As far as you can see it in your mind, you don't have to share with me what you are processing. So, but I like to know because I'll give suggestions for the new movie. But if you know what the movie is and you have an idea of how you want to change them, one time, this lady, an older lady, bless her heart, she had a home invasion. So when I suggested that she change the movie, I said, now you become Superwoman and you beat the shit out of them, right? So she changed her movie, that she talked to these people and told them that God was watching and this is not right. And she actually made them leave peacefully, right? And I look at her and I said, you are a better person than I like to be.
I like your version better, but I get it. She's probably a very God-fearing woman, and she,
right.
just
and it
her.
was
Yeah.
So I gave suggestions, but ultimately you create your own movie, which is going to work for you.
Yes.
You know?
I agree. Wow. Hey, Zulma, I cannot tell you how wonderful it has been. This is probably going to be one of my favorite episodes. You know,
Thank you.
you just came, and this is going to be great because you're episode 102. This is the 102nd episode. I just released my 100th. And so I'm very excited to have.
Congratulations. That is exciting.
Thank you. But I'm super excited. And you're my type of therapist because I prefer somebody to look at me and say, tell me what's going on direct, whether you're using 4-letter words or not. I don't care, but just tell me. I even tell this to my boss. I pulled her into a room the first day that I work. So this is obviously a side hustle. This and my coaching is a side hustle because I love it and I want to keep it that I love it. But so my regular job, I've done this with every single contract that I've been on, is I pull my supervisor into the room and I tell him, I says, listen, I says, I know I'm going to screw up. There's going to be some point in here where I screw up something, whether it be that I messed up on something that was protocol for the company and I hadn't been exposed to it yet. Something is going to happen. And I says, I do not need you to walk on eggshells. Pull me aside and I'll give you straight up permission to use all the 4-letter words you want and look at me directly and say, hey, you know what? You effed up. You fucked up. We got to figure out a way to get around this. And you better go ahead and you better fix it. And I'll be like, okay, give me some guidance on how to fix it. And I'll do it. I don't need you to sit there and go, well, you kind of did this. We really wanted you to do this. I don't need that. I need you to look at me and go, you screwed up. This is how we got to fix it. Go fix it. Done. And I'm like, perfect. Takes a lot less time. I says, I don't have time for you to sit there. And I'd give that to every single one. And all of them have different reactions. Well, I might not use those 4-letter words. I'm like, you don't have to. I'm just saying, pull me aside. That's all I ask. Pull me aside, put me in an office and yell at me. And I'm fine with you doing that. And I want you to. I want you to be free. I want you to feel like there's nothing you can't say to me that's going to offend me. Because you know what? Offense to me, offense is in the eye of the offended. If you're offended by something, it's you that has the problem, not the person that's offending you. 98.7% of communication is not meant to be offensive, but people take offense to it. So very rarely am I going to get offended. But the reason why I say that is because I love your style. You are my type of therapist. And if anybody listening out there wants therapy, that you can absolutely 100% get it direct. And you're not some therapist going, well, why don't we try this for next time? And why don't you write it down in your journal and we'll look at your journal writings later. You know, I want someone that's going to sit there and say, listen, I don't know what the F is going on with you. We have to figure it out. And you're going to write in your journal. You're going to give me, one paragraph every single day. And there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. I want to see this, this, and this, and this. Now go home, do your homework, and I'll see you back here next week. That's what I want to, or this is what you're feeling. That's it. No ifs, ands, buts. You know what? Or you know what? I hate to tell you this. You're being a freaking wimp. All right. So buck up, put on your big boy pants and get squared away. Okay. I don't know anything about therapy, but I would respect someone that would tell that to me.
The way I'll describe therapy is like I provide you with a different perspective. When you are in the picture, you cannot see the picture.
Right.
I don't know. So I'll take you at your word.
Right.
So I always say, it's kind of like if you want to build a new house, you go to Home Depot and you buy the materials and you buy the tools. If you want to build a new life, I'll take you on this shopping spree about this is a hammer and these are the nails. And if you want to hang a picture, I'll show you how to do it. But then you have to do it. Because otherwise, next time you need to hang the picture, you're going to fucking call me. You don't have to carry the hammer in your purse or in your back pocket. You leave it in the garage, but you know that it's a tool and you know how to use it. And that is what I provide you with. But the one who's doing the work is you. You are the driver. I'm the passenger. If you don't turn on the car and you don't drive, we ain't fucking getting nowhere.
I don't think you could say anything better than that. That is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So if you're going through some trauma, anxiety, depression, or something, get help. That's turning on the car and getting you somewhere.
Yes.
And then allow the passenger, your therapist, to know everything, And
Because right, like if you want to get somewhere, right, like you put the directions on the GPS. Otherwise, you're going to be driving, like you're going to waste gas, you're going to waste time, you're going to waste energy. Like the therapist is kind of like the GPS that is going to guide you. If you want to fucking go north, I'm going to kind of like point you in north. But otherwise, you're going to be driving south and not knowing why you didn't fucking get to your destination.
right.
But you're still fucking doing it, right? Like you are driving. Let's drive with purpose, right? Like, so that's what my role as a therapist is. I'm like, well, where do you want to go? You tell me where you want to go, and then I'll guide you, and we get there together. But you are the one in charge.
Zulma, we need to get your voice on AI, send it to Google, so it can be one of the voices for the GPS. You're like, I think I use the Australian accent one. What? You missed the fucking right. Now make the fucking U-turn and make why are you gonna have to make a damn left?
Are you fucking listening?
How much you hate making lefts. So you need to turn and make the left. How many times do I have to tell you? That's what's going to come out of the GPS.
Oh my God, I love it. Yes, absolutely.
Zulma's URL for her website is dragonflytherapyservices.net. She's got a bunch of great stuff on here. She's got her therapy. She talks about art. She gives you a little bit about her. And then she's got businesses and her services. She's one of the few doctors that actually has a page for her fees. Nobody does that anymore. They want you to wait till you get there. This woman is an open book. You really can't do much better than this. So go to dragonflytherapyservices.net, or she looks like she's on Instagram and Facebook. She's got a YouTube channel and she's on LinkedIn. We'll have those links for you in the show notes. We'll have dragonflytherapyservices.net on there, and every which way that you can get a hold of Zulma. If you're watching this on YouTube, please go ahead and hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell so you always know when we're dropping a new episode. Please, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please go ahead and drop us a quick review. And I don't even care if it's a good review. You can be direct and honest with me and tell me how much you liked or disliked this episode so that I can evolve the podcast to something that will be beneficial for everybody. But Zulma, thank you so much for this episode, which was informative, it was inspiring, and it was very entertaining. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. If you woke up today, that means that your mission in life is not done. So keep pushing through. Thank you for having me.
And for Zulma and myself, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.